So tomorrow you turn 41, and the time that you've been here in this country, tell us what you have experienced. Just as far as the people here and the change in ethnic background, the difference in culture. Because right now we're in Miami, we're in Miami Beach, and the culture here is completely different than other cultures in America and places that you've been.
Yeah. Completely different. So, I mean, what's your first question? It's a lot of culture shocks. A lot. You know what I mean? Well, one thing I'll say is the anxiety of trying to make yourself comfortable in every culture. But America doesn't really have a culture. You know? And that part, it doesn't really have a culture, but that part I kind of like, the don't care culture. Because the culture part, the part that I don't like about certain cultures that I like and I don't like, is the pressure of having to always be kind to people, which I like that part. Then you kind of disregard of how you feel and how you do things and how you move around.
So which culture would you say gave them has the most culture shock?
What do you mean?
Like as far as you dealt with this culture and you can't believe that this culture was like this, or oh, I didn't know that culture did this. I like that. Like this culture does this. Like which culture or what culture do you find to be the most shocking or the most interesting, I should say?
Honestly, every culture, well, I can't even say I've, been through every culture, you know what I mean? Like the cultures that I've been around, the people, like the Asian, the Vietnamese, the Cambodians, the Indians, the Tigray, different parts of Ethiopia, different parts of Africa, Nigeria and stuff like that. I like all their cultures. I'd say my favorite culture is the Asian culture.
Why would you say the Asian culture?
I like how they're extremely family oriented. Extremely. They're extremely family oriented and not just of being together, of like eating together and hanging out together, but they're really helpful with each other deeply. Not just bringing them to America, but like they'll make sure, their families are just as good as that person. You know what I mean? From what I've seen, I don't really see a jealousy. Maybe I'm wrong. Because I'm not really in that culture, but just from seeing my culture and the other people I've been around, especially in the African cultures. I've seen the Vietnamese bringing in their people. I've been around them. I've lived around some that completely help their people bring them over here, and they succeed. Completely 100% succeed, and they make sure of it. Nigerians do too, though.
So, inside of each culture, we were talking about just human selfishness, just greed, jealousy and envy. Would you say that dealing with all cultures has helped be able to look at human behavior more than just one culture acts like this or one culture acts like that? Dealing with multiple cultures, does that kind of broaden the spectrum to see that human behavior is human behavior no matter what culture you're in?
I will say this. I came here when I was young. So in America is the melting pot for every culture. And I guess in America you have a culture of being selfish in so many different ways. So when I grew up here and actually went to a different country, I realized how selfish I was even as an American. Not as in like African, but as an American.
What do you
So I
mean
had
when you say you
American
were
ways.
selfish?
Like,
Give us an example.
for example, okay. Coming from the culture that I come from, being the togetherness of the family oriented and stuff like that. Being in America, you know, my dad lives in Maine. I live in North Carolina. My brother and sisters live in different states. You know what I mean? You have your own place and you want more. You want more. The more you have, the more you want. More. Okay? So you become kind of selfish and wanting to have more within yourself. Wanting to, as a woman, wanting to get your hair done, wanting to get this one. Just the little things that's kind of like an illusion. It's not reality. So when you go to a different culture, a country, and you realize none of that stuff is even important at all, you know. But fashion is important everywhere, obviously. But you know what I'm saying? Like not as much as this country. So, like I was telling you before, like when I went to Italy, right? Like here, we're so selfish. Not like we complain. For example, we're in this apartment. We came here to Miami, you know. There's certain things that we may not have I want to complain about. You're not going to be able to complain about that stuff when you go to a different country. They're going to look at you like, you know, like I was telling you, I complained about not the bathroom working one time. They look at you like, well, what's 24 hours? You know what I mean? Here you just constantly complain about everything. Everything's a complaint. You know, you go to the store, you don't like something, you complain instead of getting something else. Like, complain.
Is that just the spirit that America develops in people?
Yes. Because it allows you to be spoiled. This country allows you to be spoiled. This country allows you to have laws and rules and, you know, hey, if you do this, you can have this. You know, customers are always right, you know.
So would you say the majority of people in America are spoiled and you know?
Yes. Yes. Even the ones that's not say they're not spoiled are spoiled. Yes. Even including myself. Even I don't even want to say I'm spoiled, but 100%.
Yeah, so we're on the back end of a big mile marker in, you know, American history. The event that started at the beginning of 2020, and being on the backside of that event now, how does it make you view the world and, you know, without having to say that term, because they like to censor a piece of people. From what I'm noticing, they like to censor people for saying stuff like the, you know, the pandemic that we've been in. They like to censor you if you say the other word to it. But has that made you see the world differently since the pandemic has started?
Like this whole, since 2020, since the pandemic, since the whole,
Yeah. Like that whole, just the way society has took a big shift.
not really, because every couple of years, it's always something, you know. The world is going to end. It's always something. I guess coming from a third world country, you just always feel like you're not really surprised by it, I guess. You know what I'm saying? It could be worse. Look what's going on in different countries. So the
go ahead, my bad.
No, it's okay. The pandemic just, I mean, it just made me realize, it didn't even make me realize people are really closed. I mean, they're closed down here. They're extremely closed. They're shut down. And they're shut down not just brain-wise, they're shut down in every kind of way. I mean,
Yeah. So, with that being said, you know, you coming from another country where like you said, it could be worse. Kind of give us a little background on when you had to leave from the country that you're from during the war, and just kind of just highlight on that, just for the sake of this video, so people can kind of understand your standpoint and where you are mentally with what's going on with the war in your country right now.
Well, sorry, I'm all over the place right now with my thinking, but I mean, I feel completely blessed, like I always say, to be here. Sometimes I feel really selfish. This country is a selfish country, but when you come here, you work, and you get to live the way you want to, and I love America. Honestly, this is why people want to come here. Even though people think it's more than what it really is, it is exactly what they think it is. It's actually more than what they think it is. Because you get to do whatever you want in this country. You get to live the life that you get to really choose the life that you really want. That's one thing I didn't understand as a kid. In this country, you could really have your dream, literally, okay? You can't do that in other countries. Like, there's no way of that. They have rules and regulations, and it's not just rules and regulations, it's certain people, It don't matter how much education you have, you might not be able to get there. It doesn't matter how much money, you know what I'm saying? It's all about who's your family, what got money, and politics. Even this country's got politics in it, you know what I'm saying? But you can still live the life that you want. You can still work hard to live the life that you want. So with that being said, I know you didn't ask me that, but goes back to the war in the country. Like, it's fucked up that it happens like the way it is. Honestly, it just makes me think, like, it's so real that it's fake. And what I mean by that is, like, it's so real that, like, people out here really killing people, making them starve to death, raping them by choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, by choice. This is the world we live in. It's by choice. Like, no one has to live like that. No one has to live in starvation and hunger and any of that stuff. Like, here in this country, you got rules. You can't rape nobody. You know what I'm saying? You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't even beat up an Asian person now. You know what I mean? Like, over there, like, you just don't have a choice. They just murder you. This genocide is like, innocent people dying. Like, how could another human do that to another human being by choice? So, what makes me think of humanity is that humanity doesn't really believe in what they say they believe in and what they ask us to believe in. You know what I'm saying? Which is God. Or Allah, whoever. How can you believe and hurt people like that? By choice. Even from the beginning. Dig gold and diamonds. You know what I'm saying? So you can make it, so you can have education to be able to just talk, to be able to eat in your own land. So what do I think of it? I don't know what I think of it. I really don't know what I think of it. I just know that I'm here. I don't know what they're, I don't know. I don't know what I think of it. Because it's by choice.
So, on, I forget the date, but there's the protest that you guys are planning. This is going to be the second protest. And the first protest was February 2021. And
2020, yeah.
we were speaking before that. It's terrible that here it is a year and a few months later that you guys are having to have a second protest because the killing and the just the terrorism of the people of the land still hasn't stopped. So Yeah, kind of speak to the protest that's coming up.
Another protest to try to scream out for help in every kind of way. Every state doing it. Trying to scream out for help. Again, like, why should people have to protest? Why should we have to scream to stop a war, a genocide that's happening to innocent people? But it's happening. And guess what? We're not the only country. As much as I want to say and be selfish and say, hey, look at my country, because nobody's paying attention to Tigray, obviously, right? But everybody's been paying attention to Ethiopia as the hungry children.
And it's kind of terrible that they've been running that kind of narrative. I know since I've been young, they've been running the hungry, starving children narrative of Ethiopia. Since I was a child. When the war started with Ukraine and Russia, kind of give us your feelings and your emotions on, when that war started and how they were, given so much attention and awareness to it.
I mean, they always give that attention and awareness. It's just like when I first came, they give awareness to everybody else. Everybody else but Africa. Everybody's knowing about Africa, but about starving people. That's it. They don't give awareness to, I hate to say it, but black people.
Yeah.
And that's everywhere and anywhere. Black people don't give awareness to black people. Shit. That's how bad it is. That's just anywhere and everywhere you go. It's something that, I hate to say it, it's something you don't, like, these people have already accepted that they're going to be at war. You know what I'm saying? That they can't stop. Because if they stop, they become slaves. This is an ongoing thing. You become slaves if you don't win something. You know what I'm saying? We're not the only ones. This is happening all over the world.
Yeah. So, so basically as it stands now, it's kind of like, if you're not strong enough to defeat the people that are coming against you, then, you just get swallowed.
Yep. And are you strong enough to defeat? You know what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing about it. America's watching this happening. The world is watching this happening. America is watching this happen. Right? But there's people in America, like, that's protesting. We're protesters, right? We're protesting and screaming for help for our families. And we are citizens of this country. We pay our dues. These are people that are doctors. You know what I'm saying? They do surgery to Americans. You know what I'm saying? That are Tagaros that are living in this country. These are people that go to Army, Navy for this country. That live right here. But you open up doors to other people that have, you know what I'm saying? Why you open up the doors to everybody else? Why other countries get helped?
Well, now that we have the Biden administration in, we see them, they're bringing in a lot of refugees again. When Obama was in office, he brought a lot of refugees in from, I think, the Gaddafi situation, and now they let a lot of refugees in from the Afghan situation, and now you're having a lot of people that are coming in from the Ukraine situation. When they were having the big invasion of the Spanish coming from the southern border, and they started to put the people in the cages, and immigration started coming in. How did that make you feel?
That's terrible. But it's terrible, right? To put people in cages. But one thing I do know is you go to any country, and this, as terrible as anybody want to say this is going to sound, because it does, but this is a reality, and if you're from a third world country, you would understand this. It's politics, right? The world runs around politics, and everybody's got to protect their country, right? So we say this is nobody's country, right? This is nobody's country, but it's actually somebody's country that gets protected. So there's laws and regulations to come here, right? So those people are in refugee camp before they can come here. You can't just jump through water, you know what I'm saying? You can't just sneak in here. Like, you know, there's rules and regulations. You got to follow those rules and regulations, because guess what? You can have people that will rape your children. You can have people that will kill them. You know what I'm saying? There's all kinds of stuff that happens to people like that. You can't. Like, that just happened. So when we came here, it was the same way. We came through refugee. Listen, we didn't just come here through refugee. We came here, my dad made sure we learned the language, because, you know what I'm saying, follow like the culture of America. So I felt bad that they were in cages, right? The only thing, you know who I felt bad for? I felt bad for the people that were already living here. And then you kicking them back out, taking them away from their families. Now, that's dead wrong. What you should have done was made them go get their citizenship. You know what I'm saying? Gave them time to give, you don't just take them out their family's house and just like fucking, basically. And the reason why I say that is because these people have been working for you already.
Right. Paying taxes and
Yeah,
stuff.
they've already been doing that. They have homes, they've been paying rent and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's too late. That's your job. You didn't do your job.
So it's kind of like they would have a squatter's rights to a squatter case or something like that. That they should be able to, stake the claim to whatever land they've been paying taxes on or whatever. Yeah.
Because as much as it's nobody's land, you know, there's rules to every land.
Right.
That's what sucks about it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said nobody wants to hear that. But at the end of the day, people like, I really sat down and thought about it. Like, you know what I mean? It's politics. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know, you go look, you have passport to go to different countries. You know, you take shots.
Yeah. So when you went to Italy in what 2006, 7?
2003,
2003 to 4.
Yeah.
What was the difference in, because even then when you were going to Italy, you were still learning the American culture, because you had been here. If you went to Italy in 2003 or 2004, you still were inside of a 15-year learning curve of American culture. What did you find different about their culture there than American culture?
That's a good question, because you're right. I actually, not only that I was just learning the American culture, but I actually didn't even know the American culture because I grew up in Maine. You know what I mean?
Right.
So coming from, Tigray to Sudan to Maine, it's a whole culture shock coming from over there, and then actually seeing different people from different cultures. When I came from, 2% in Maine.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a culture shock already, you know what I mean? And then, so I had to learn, basically you had to learn to maneuver different ways, like, black people in America, like just different, it's a whole bunch of different things. Like I said, it's a melting pot, you know what I mean? Like Connecticut was all, Rhode Island was completely different. Everything was completely different than Maine. And then when I went to Italy, like I told you earlier, I learned that, remember growing up in America, so, people noticed I was an Ethiopian, so people still do. Are you from Ethiopia? Are you from Tigray? You know what I mean? Completely, right? When I went to Italy, it wasn't, they knew I was from Ethiopia and Tigray, but a lot of people were like, American. Because it was the things I was doing that was ignorant. You know what I'm saying? I've been here for so long now. You know what I mean? So when I got there, they were like, that's an American person. American girl. Don't do that.
Even though they could look at you and tell that you were Ethiopian,
Yeah.
the things, your behavior was that of an American, and your behavior wasn't
Of a European American.
of a European American, but your American mannerisms there were not as pronounced as a Southern person's American mannerisms, because your mannerisms are coming from a totally different culture, which is a European culture of the people from Maine.
Right.
And they kind of developed the mannerism and the interaction between one man and the next man, whether that be female or male. So your development stage of interacting with people was developed in Maine, and basically has given you the skill to navigate the world with. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
coming from Maine and going to you left Maine.
Went to college in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And then went to Italy.
And you went to Italy from Rhode Island.
Yep.
And that's going from Rhode Island is not the deepest route.
That was just the school, you know what I mean? It wasn't nothing. That was a culture shock for me because that was something like, I went from Maine to Rhode Island, but it was just like a year and a half. I didn't really like make a life out of it. It was kind of like a schooling thing, you know. And then, that was it. I went to Italy.
Then you were in Italy.
Yeah.
So coming from Italy and then coming back to America, even then you're still within a 15-year learning curve of developing. You know, you're not even 25 years old yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's been a lot of talk. Charleston White has brought this to the attention of a lot of people, but I read this in some mental development books some odd years ago about the human brain not developing fully until past the age of 25. So when you're traveling to Italy and from Italy back to America, and then you end up in North Carolina, you're still under the age of 25 when you're still learning from people on how to interact with other people.
Yeah.
Which kind of gives you the social skills that you have today. Where me being around you, I can be a testament to the way that you operate with people. It's a life learned skill that you've developed to interact with people and be able to navigate the world as if you're in the matrix. Excuse me, but as if you're in the matrix, you can pretty much get the things that you want. You can pretty much navigate free of just trouble and harm, just on the skills that you've learned with being in these different places and just interacting with people. So with that being said, I just wanted to get a little bit more understanding of the protest. What exactly are you guys wanting? Because you have how many other females are in the youth group that's going to be?
I think it's like, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 of them. Yeah, young ladies, 8 or 9.
Okay. So what are you guys hoping to get out of the protest this time?
Same thing, more awareness. Honestly, more awareness. And honestly, I will say this. Because what it has brought to the community is a togetherness. I will say that. The awareness has brought the community togetherness. So, like, you've seen when people have passed away, you know what I'm saying? Or even with a billboard, you know what I mean? They don't have to know you. It's like you're a second cousin to them, you know what I'm saying? Because of what's going on from home, it's kind of like they know that your people back home is not going to talk to you or take care of you, you know? So they're here to literally, like, just be here for you. You see 500 people showed up for that guy's funeral. You know, they don't even know him, but it doesn't matter, you know? So and when that protest doing that all the time is going to bring a togetherness. When this war is over, right, it's going to bring these people together to be able to build the community back together back home and here, you know, so we can have our own school, our own church, you know what I mean? It's like you're building your own community, because guess what, this whole protest thing is literally helping people, and it brings people together. Like, people are, everybody's families are passing away. So when people are coming together to protest, all these people are gathering together going through the same type of pain. So I don't know. I don't know if it helps other people. I know they're looking for awareness, but I know that also it does something for people. It helps them while their families are dying in hunger and they can't talk to their own family. So seeing each other is kind of like seeing almost like kind of like a illusion of seeing another person.
So with the dream that a lot of people have, and it's almost like you can tell that it's a fake dream now, but maybe about 10 years ago there was this vibe of all of us being black people. You're my brother, even though you're from Africa, I'm from America. We're still, we're brothers. That dream of and that vibe that was being picked up and put on people's channel. Do you think that there will ever be a global togetherness
In America?
with just the African man, period? Just the colored people of the world. Do you ever think that there will be a bonding moment where the colored people of the world would say, hey, we're going to stick together, and all resources in all part of the land have to be compensated by the people that are living on that land?
I want to say yeah, because it sounds beautiful. You know what I mean? I want to say it sounds beautiful because all you have to do is put African music together and let black people walk around. You know what I mean? All of a sudden they're going to shake hands. The love is always going to be there. You know what I mean? And the thing is, the love is there, right? But the way the world is moving, the way the world is, it won't allow you. And that brings us back to how I was going to tell you earlier was how America is, right? America's a melting pot. So in America, you have different cultures. So it's not just one culture here. You know what I mean? And this is a culture actually you can maneuver yourself around to. It's kind of like going to Africa or going to South America. You know what I'm saying? Like look where we are right now. Literally, all these people are living like how they're living in South America. So it's like different cultures in America. So the black man, I don't think they're getting away from that pride. So I don't know. I would like to say yeah. When you see each other, when there's music, when you see parades, yes, you're gonna always have that love because it's always gonna trigger. But when everybody goes home at the end of the day,